The light in the night of ignorance. Have you ever felt that even though the world is full of light, there is still a vast darkness inside your heart? We can travel anywhere, connect with millions of people with just a touch, and yet we feel farther and farther away from ourselves. We understand many things, but we don't understand the unease inside our minds. We know how to make money, to succeed, but we don't know how to be at peace. The Buddha once said, "The greatest suffering doesn't come from the world around us, but from the ignorance within our hearts." Ignorance doesn't mean lacking knowledge. It means not seeing life as it truly is. We think happiness comes from having more, being loved more, being praised more, and we forget that true happiness comes only when the heart knows how to stop and be content. Long ago, Prince Siddhartha lived in a golden palace, surrounded by everything one could ever dream of. Yet even amid luxury, he felt a quiet, unshakable question in his heart. Why must humans grow old, fall ill, and die? Is there a path that can end suffering? That question led him to leave the palace and search for truth. He went into the forest, practiced austerity, and meditated beneath the Bodhi tree to find the light within himself. And at last, he awakened, seeing that all suffering arises from ignorance, from attachment, from an unawakened mind. But ignorance is not just a story from the past. It's still here, quietly shaping our lives. It hides in anger when someone offends us, in the fear of being abandoned, in the endless craving for more. Ignorance is when we react without realizing that we are reacting. It's when we hurt someone without knowing we are causing pain. We chase after things that glitter outside and forget we're losing peace inside. There's an old story. A blind man walks at night, holding a bright lantern. Someone asks, "Why carry a lamp when you can't see?" The blind man smiles. "I don't carry it to see, but so others won't bump into me." Each of us carries such a lantern, the lantern of wisdom and understanding, but most of us forget to light it. When the mind is dark, we hurt others, and we hurt ourselves. Only when we light that lantern can we see the path ahead and stop colliding with suffering. Ignorance makes us believe we are separate, that I am the center of the universe. From that illusion come conflict, jealousy, and pain. But the awakened see differently. Everything is connected, like ripples across one lake. When one ripple moves, the whole lake moves. To understand this is to give rise to compassion, because hurting another is also hurting oneself. A wise teacher once said, "People don't suffer because of what happens. They suffer because of how they see what happens." The same event can break one person and awaken another. The difference lies in whether the mind is dark or light. A clear mind sees impermanence and lets go, and instantly the heart becomes light. In today's noisy world, we need awareness more than ever. Work, pressure, and social media pull us away from listening to our own breath. Many think freedom means doing whatever they want, but true freedom is not being controlled by anything at all. The free person can smile in a storm, find calm in chaos, because they have found the light within. One evening, an old monk sat beneath a tree. His student asked, "Master, why did you light the lamp so early?" The monk smiled gently. "I don't want to wait until darkness falls to go looking for light." That simple sentence is a reminder for all of us. Don't wait for suffering to learn mindfulness. Don't wait for loss to learn gratitude. And don't wait for darkness to start seeking light. The light of awareness isn't far away. It's here, in every breath, in every mindful step, in every moment you truly live. When we stop and listen, emotions pass like clouds in the sky, and the mind becomes clear again. Then we no longer chase suffering, because we see that suffering itself is the teacher that helps us grow. This world doesn't lack light. It only lacks those willing to open their eyes. When we turn inward, the light of wisdom begins to shine. It doesn't come from books, but from the depth of our own awareness. When the mind is bright, darkness disappears. When wisdom arises, the path becomes clear. And in that clarity, fear fades away. For the light we seek has always been within us, just waiting for us to return and rekindle it. The root of suffering. Ignorance in every breath. Suffering. It's something no one wants, yet no one can escape. People try countless ways to run from pain. Traveling, working endlessly, shopping, loving, dreaming. But when night falls and everything grows quiet, there remains a nameless emptiness inside. We don't suffer because of the world outside, but because of the way we see it. That distorted way of seeing is covered by a thick fog, the fog of ignorance. Ignorance means not seeing things as they truly are. It makes us believe that what we want can bring lasting happiness. It makes us think others are the cause of our pain. It makes us believe we can control everything. Ignorance is the root of attachment, and wherever attachment exists, suffering follows. Those who cling to the body fear aging, sickness, and death. Those attached to fame live for praise and fear criticism. Those attached to love try to hold on to what is impermanent. But life never stands still. When life changes, the clinging heart shatters. Look at a small child crying over a lost toy. An adult sees it and smiles, knowing the toy has little value. Yet we, the so-called grown-ups, are not much different. We cry when we lose something we love, feel hurt when misunderstood, and suffer when things don't go our way. To the wise, these troubles are like a child's broken toy, for they see the nature of impermanence. But to us, blinded by ignorance, we still cry like that same child. There was once a king who lived in a magnificent palace, but was always restless. One day he summoned a wise sage and asked, "Why do I have everything, yet still feel no happiness?" The sage replied, "Because, Your Majesty, you have too many things to lose." The king was stunned. The sage continued, "When the heart clings to what changes, it will never know peace. True happiness does not come from possession, but from freedom from possession." That is the vision of wisdom. Wisdom is not knowing many things, but seeing reality as it is. Reality is simple. Everything arises and passes, forms and dissolves. If the mind accepts this, it becomes light. If it resists, suffering is born. Ignorance blinds us from seeing deeply. When someone hurts us, we only see their action, but not the pain inside them. An angry person is often one who suffers. A greedy person is often one who feels unloved. A cold person is often one who has been abandoned. When we have wisdom, we stop blaming and begin to understand. Yet to see like that, the mind must be clear. And to clear the mind, we must dare to look within. The Buddha taught that ignorance is the first link in the chain of dependent origination, the very beginning of all suffering. From ignorance arises action. From action arises consciousness, then name and form, the six senses, contact, feeling, craving, grasping, becoming, birth, aging, and death, an endless cycle of rebirth. To break free, there is only one way, to dissolve ignorance with the light of wisdom. But wisdom is not something you can memorize or recite. It comes when the mind is still enough to see clearly. Just as a lake reflects the sky only when its surface is calm, the mind sees truth only when it is free of ripples. When you sit quietly and watch your anger, fear, and desire without judgment, without running away, that is when wisdom arises. For wisdom doesn't come from thinking, but from pure awareness. There was once a man who complained that life was unfair. He said, "Heaven doesn't care, people don't understand, and the world isn't right." One day he met an old monk sweeping leaves. The monk said, "You say you suffer, but have you ever looked to see where that suffering lives? It's out there, in life, in people, in fate." The man replied. The monk shook his head. "No, it's inside you. If your mind is bright, life cannot darken you." Those words silenced him, because suffering is not in the event, it's in perception. One person faces loss and becomes bitter. Another faces loss and becomes awakened. Suffering is not an enemy. It is a mirror reflecting the clarity of the mind. The wise learn from suffering. The ignorant blame it. We suffer because we want life to follow our plans. But life was never meant to please us. Wisdom helps us see, Some things must be released, some people must go, some losses must be accepted. Letting go is not weakness. It is seeing that holding on only burns us more. Like grasping a hot coal, the moment we release it, we save ourselves. Ignorance narrows our vision. Wisdom opens it wide. The ignorant see only me and others, gain and loss. The wise see only the flow of causes and conditions. No one truly wins, no one truly loses. There are only lessons learned and hearts awakened. One evening, a student asked his teacher, "Master, how can I know if I still live in ignorance?" The teacher smiled and said, "When you see others' faults but your heart remains still, when you see suffering but still keep compassion, then you have stepped out of ignorance." Ignorance doesn't vanish through argument, but through the experience of awareness. Each time we pause, look deeply, understand, and forgive, we light another small lamp. A single lamp may be small, but it can brighten the whole darkness around us. If we learn to look at suffering through the eyes of wisdom, it becomes the very path to peace. Just as mud nourishes the lotus, and darkness makes dawn more radiant, the path of awakening is not to flee from suffering, but to see through it. And when that seeing arises, ignorance disappears, just as night naturally fades when the sun begins to rise. Awakening wisdom, transforming delusion. After realizing that ignorance is the root of all suffering, a new question naturally arises. How can we break through that long night of darkness? How can we light the lamp of wisdom within our hearts? Wisdom does not come from the outside. It blossoms from within, from awareness, from the ability to look deeply into oneself. The Buddha revealed this path through 8 gates, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. But this path is not something to memorize. It is a way of living, moment by moment, in every thought, word, and action. It begins with right view, the ability to see clearly. When perception is distorted, everything that follows goes astray. Like someone holding the wrong map, the further they go, the farther they move from the destination. Right view means seeing the impermanent nature of life, understanding cause and effect, and realizing that all things arise from conditions. Nothing appears or disappears on its own. When we see this truth, greed, anger, and delusion begin to fade, because we understand that everything is only temporary. One morning, a disciple asked his master, "Master, I wish to find wisdom. What should I read or listen to first?" The master remained silent, then filled a glass with water and placed it before him. What do you see?" "I see water, master." "Yes," said the master. "But if this glass were filled with mud, would you still see clearly?" "No, master." "Then," said the master, "to see clearly, the first step is to make the water pure. Your mind is the same. Wisdom doesn't come from outside. It comes from a clear mind. Calm your mind and you will see everything for yourself." The disciple bowed, realizing that wisdom is not gained by adding more knowledge, but by letting go of what clouds the mind. When attachment fades, light appears. To transform ignorance, we must learn the art of mindful living, to know what we are doing, saying, and thinking. Every breath, every step, every small act can become a meditation. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When listening, listen fully with your whole heart. Do not let the mind scatter in past or future. Ignorance is born when the mind leaves the present moment. True practitioners do not run away from life. They live in the world without being swept away by it. Amid noise, they remain still. Amid change, they stay clear. Amid suffering, they find the lotus blooming in the mud. That is the miracle of mindfulness. Once, a man came to a Zen master, complaining that his life was full of suffering, stressful work, conflict at home, and a weary mind. The master poured tea into a cup, and when it was full, he kept pouring until it overflowed. "Master," the man cried, "the cup is full." The master smiled and said, "Yes, and so is your mind. How can I pour wisdom into it when it's already overflowing with worries and opinions?" The man fell silent. That silence was the beginning of insight. Wisdom needs space to grow, just as a seed needs still soil. If the heart is crowded with anger, noise, and comparison, the light of insight can never pass through. That is why the Buddha taught meditation, not to escape life, but to see it more clearly. When we meditate, we are not trying to reach anywhere. We are simply coming home. Home to our breath, home to the present moment, home to ourselves. Seeing each breath, seeing emotions come and go. That is how transformation begins. From confusion to clarity, from heaviness to lightness. When an angry person pauses before speaking, they are planting a seed of wisdom. When one who judges learns to listen, they open the door of compassion. When one who clings to ego smiles at their own mistakes, they step into freedom. Wisdom and compassion always walk hand in hand. Wisdom helps us understand. Compassion helps us feel. When both are present, ignorance melts away like morning mist under the first light of dawn. Someone once asked, "How do I know if I am living in wisdom?" The answer is simple. When your heart is at peace without needing reasons, when you no longer wish to change others, when you feel happiness even amid imperfection, that is wisdom. A wise person is not someone who never suffers, but one who knows how to walk through suffering with mindfulness. When waves rise, they don't blame the sea. They simply wait for the water to settle. They know no storm lasts forever, and no darkness can outshine the light. An old monk once said, "I do not teach you how to run from suffering. I teach you how to walk through it unharmed." That is the essence of Buddhist wisdom. Not denying pain, not clinging to it, but seeing it with clear eyes. When we see clearly, suffering loses its power to destroy. It becomes a teacher, showing us how to live, to love, to let go. The wise do not need to prove who they are. They speak little, but their words heal. They do not chase fame, for they know all things are like clouds drifting across the sky, coming and going, never ours to keep. What remains is the clarity of mind, like the moon reflected in still water. To awaken wisdom, we need only begin with simple mindfulness. Be grateful when you wake in the morning. Taste your food with awareness. Listen deeply when someone speaks. When anger arises, know that you are angry, and breathe. In doing so, ignorance fades, and wisdom shines. When that light spreads, we realize the truth. The world was never something to fear. Suffering was never our enemy. It was our greatest teacher. Each storm we survive makes our light brighter, until one day we smile and realize we were never searching for Buddha outside. Buddha was the clear, awakened heart breathing within us all along. Returning to the light within. When one has seen the roots of suffering and begins to awaken the source of wisdom within, the journey is no longer about searching for anything outside. It becomes a journey of returning to one's true nature, where the light of awareness has never gone out. Life is a river that never stops flowing. There are calm stretches, and there are wild currents. The ignorant are afraid. The wise smile, for they understand that no part of the river stands still, and no current lasts forever. What matters is not the river itself, but how we swim through it. Wisdom helps us see this truth. Suffering does not come to punish, but to awaken. It is like a gentle knock at the door, reminding us that we have wandered too far from ourselves. If we understand, we open the door, and suffering quietly leaves. If we shut it tight, it will stay until we are ready to listen. One afternoon, someone asked an old monk, "Master, after so many years of practice, what have you found?" The monk replied, "I have found nothing. I have only lost what was never real." Surprised, the man asked, "What have you lost?" The monk smiled. "I lost fear, greed, and ego. When those disappeared, What remained was peace. That is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. Liberation is not about gaining more, but about letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up life, but living freely within it. It means loving without clinging, doing your best without attachment to results, and walking through life without letting the dust of the world settle on your heart. The wise know, we cannot change the wind, but we can adjust our sails. We cannot control the river, but we can learn to flow with it. We cannot keep youth forever, but we can keep our hearts bright. We cannot stop others from speaking ill of us, but we can keep our hearts free from hatred. And above all, we cannot stop life from changing, but we can keep the light of awareness shining through every change. Each moment of mindfulness lights a small lamp. Just one lamp is enough to dispel the darkness around you. And if millions of people light their lamps together, the world will bloom like a garden of light. We don't need grand speeches or distant ideals. We only need to live with a clear heart. That alone is a miracle. One who lives in awareness is like a lotus in the mud. The lotus does not avoid the mud, but neither does it let the mud stain it. It blooms right there, spreading fragrance across the water. Likewise, a true practitioner does not run away from suffering, but uses suffering as the soil from which understanding blooms. Mud is suffering. The lotus is peace. Without mud, the lotus cannot grow. Without suffering, wisdom cannot arise. And when we are still enough to look deeply, we realize that the light we have been seeking was never lost. It has always been there, in this very breath, in each glance, in each smile, in every dawn that greets us. We once searched outside, in fame, in wealth, in love, but nowhere could we find lasting peace. Only when we turn inward do we discover the truth. The Buddha is not somewhere far away. The Buddha is within our own heart. A young monk once asked his teacher, "Master, I have practiced for many years, yet I still feel sadness, anger, and fear. Why?" The teacher smiled. "Because you still want to become. Just be." Those simple words are the great gate of awakening. When we stop trying to become someone, stop trying to prove anything, the mind returns to its original state, egoless, quiet, and radiant. In truth, life has no winners or losers. Some learn their lessons early, some later. Some walk fast, others slow. But in the end, all are returning to the same place, the peace within themselves. Like raindrops falling from every direction, all eventually merge into the great ocean. And that ocean is the Buddha's mind, birthless, deathless, and free from illusion. The awakened do not need to prove enlightenment. A single smile, a gentle gaze, a kind act is enough to share that light. Wisdom is not found in words, but in how one lives. Not in the number of scriptures read, but in a heart that knows how to pause, listen, and love. If each day we spend just a few quiet moments, to breathe, to reflect, to return, that is already the beginning of awakening. Enlightenment is not distant like a misty mountain peak. It is here, in every small act, every kind thought, every sincere gesture. When we help someone in need, when we forgive, when we smile despite our wounds, we are already walking the path of light. One day, when we are calm enough to look back on all our pain, we will feel gratitude. For without suffering, we would never know the value of peace. Without being lost, we would never know how precious it is to find our way home. Every challenge we faced was just a stone paving the way back to ourselves. The moon has always been full, only covered by passing clouds. When the clouds part, the light returns. And when the mind is clear, everything around us changes. We see others with compassion, speak with kindness, and act with love. Life remains the same, but the one living it is transformed. Then, the heart becomes a lamp, and life itself becomes a field of light. Let these quiet moments remind us, peace is never far away. It is here, in every breath, every step, every mindful moment. If you feel peace through the Buddha's teachings, help us share this light with others. Like, share this video, and subscribe to Buddha's loving words, so together we can light one lamp of awareness every day. Every subscription, every comment, is a seed of peace planted in the world. And from those seeds, the light of wisdom and compassion will continue to bloom everywhere. Thank you for listening. May your day be peaceful, your heart bright, and your life filled with love. Homage to the original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha.
From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for supporting Buddha's loving words. May the teachings of the Buddha continue to touch every heart, bringing peace and happiness.